triangle array, and it's rectangular array. I'm not trolling you, not testing you on that one. That's me just, saying triangular array when I mean to say rectangular array. Some of my trolls I'll admit to. Some trolls I'll say, well, damn, that was a real mistake. That's a real mistake when I'm saying triangular array. My brain wants to say rectangular array. It sees rectangular array, but it says triangle. All right, here is the one image I have for some time now. I've posted already talking about the offsets. All right, the offset issues. Now, I talk about the car vehicle loading over here. I want you to see this. I want you to see. I want you to see. Open your little beautiful eyes. This is loading it, loading. Okay, here's a column, right? Column. So now you see that now. Okay. And we'll go off an angle a little bit. It appears all these vehicles, including the deck, all load this central column. The central column seems to get the most. I have a caveat to that in a bit, and to a degree. Play on words on degree. This tells more than just saying pick on it. It actually tells which, I want to give it away slowly, but in this video, which direction, because I want you guys to get it before I say it. Which direction, think of the butterfly failure. And so butterfly failure is here, right? Up and there we go. So I want you to get it before I say it. You have that data. It's biased because you have it in your brain now. But I'll give you a way to triangulate without the bias. So if you didn't see the butterfly, how you can look at this column here in a damaged state and say, I think I know what's going on here, looking at this column in a damaged state. This column in a damaged state, I'll give you a rough drawing. It looks something like that, right? The one profile of it. And a little ledge there, and then this is smooth here pretty much. And maybe there, the other side, about the same. Okay, so there's your clue. Let me get out of this and come back. So now I try to find images of image search of the columns that I need to show you. The parking garage area. Here's a New York Times version. Double bubbles. Okay. Double bubbles. Interesting. These will help you. You will learn so much from those double bubbles or even single bubble. But let's go to your left. What else we got? It says engine tips using. I think that's an article. Using images from an article. Let's see. Yeah, it belongs to New York Post, or one of them, according to design drawing. Sorry, guys, I just pulled it out. Belongs to an article somewhere else. Engine Tips is a group of bunch of people, a lot of computer guys apparently interested in collapse failures, putting post over there. What they're speculating on. And they go out and they grab data from my channel, from other channels, and they just have debates over it over there. So if you guys care to go over there, but they're quite tribal. They ran off this one guy that he contacted me. He said, hey, whoa, I see why you're not over there. They're quite nasty. They attacked him because he bowed out. He's like, not wasting his energy over there. So you guys can go over there, but remember, you're probably just, you're going to get a lot of weird information. Take it with a grain of salt. E and R, they're just a narrative, this article, they're just a narrative police. They don't cross the line at all. They don't do any speculating. They're terrible. E and R, they are terrible. So I don't recommend you use their data at all. Let me pause and get back in here. Okay, so let's use the New York Times publication of this same photo. Okay, there's what I talked to you about, the shelf and this. I'm giving you the clues before I give it to you. And then there's and I gave this to another video, and there's like the reverse shelf. So, and that's that version of it, and there's the outside shelf. Take a look at that. Now, I want you to think of the butterfly here. So from here is the overlay, etc. This is the structural slab here. And now I'm going to go off to the side of it here. So I always want you to think about, this is the master's class now. The master's class with the master of cracks. Always learning still. So master fisherman. I used to bait hooks. So good at it, I became a master baiter. Anyway, can't resist. Can't resist, guys. Can't resist. Alright, so then the rotation, right? Oh, wait a minute. There's no rotation there yet. This looks more like a shearing action. Wow, this one looks more like a shearing action. Or is it? Wait a minute. We evaluate it deeper. Oh, great. My LASIK is acting up on me. My eyes just got blurry. It goes just like that, too. It's like I forgot to, rest enough. So the eyes didn't rest, and now they're caught up with me. They went blurry. I can't believe the timing on this, because I'm trying to do this for you. So I'm squinting now, so bear with me if I screw up a little bit. There's this. If I can see this correctly, there's the my eyes. I got my eyes closed talking to you now. The brush marks against the column. And now I would say something like this. So my eyes are still closed. Oh, wait a minute. There's steel in the way. Steel in the way. Oh, the steel, luckily the steel's that. Oh, no, it's not. The steel's bent. Well, it's bent fully down pretty much. Let me look at it again and get another glean of it. Oh, yeah, the steel appears to be bent down pretty much. Huh. What's going on here? What's going on here? All right, so what I theorize is going on here is that this part of the steel was connected still. Yeah. Times two. There's two pieces there, right? 1 and 2. This part of steel was not engaged, connected as much, meaning the bond was broke. I got a position of bias way back that explains the repairs that needed in the structure, like from day one, pretty much. With the cracking of the day one is a product for concrete, so that's weird. I just referenced that. The tributary area bending down, it's over here. So there's another bias position that's going to get me back to where I am. So I consider it bias. I need to get there without knowing about the butterfly. So I just looking at this. Can I get there, direction of failure of the deck, and this location without using the butterfly knowledge? All right, I can, and I simply use this here. This right here. It's not pointing at an arrow, but it's how save. I would love to have more data inside here. It's gone now. The buildings are destroyed. That was not salvaged, so we don't have that photographic imagery that I could dive into it. So I'm going to take some liberty here, just not much though. That the steel, the concrete in here is really bonded very well. And how do I get that? Well, I see the steel here. See the steel? It's still here. It didn't rip out. It didn't rip out. And think about all the other steel around here ripping out left and right across the deck, peeling off everything else. Why didn't it rip out at the column? Well, because the column is set on a pier, and the pier caps and the piers here, right? The piers and the pier caps. And when the deck was built, it was on a very stable, non-deflective area, this concrete here, when it was put across there to do the deck. So no deflection was take there while the bond took place. But I theorized that they set it up on sand, that when they did this, remember I've said this a long time ago, when they set the forms up on sand, they set the concrete, there was a settlement that took place, an initial bond break took place. And that initial bond break, and then it did lock in. It ultimately locked, froze in time, wherever it was froze in time. The initial bond break was internal to the concrete, as I do this when you see me do this all the time. So right here is where the rebar would bond into the concrete. And it goes, you know, it's all the way, you can put it up to here, but go continuous. Let's get rid of that. So the initial bond break took place because the forms they used were wood, which is documented. And they used like 4x4s and they nailed them together and they stood them up. So it take a lot of cross bracing to keep those from deflecting, buckling, and causing the deck to sag in different places. And also we have the water coming in, the compressive, the sand being actively compressed as it's settling, as the concrete is loading it, and it's creating that profile of it. And then you got workers up top, and you got stockpiled materials that they'll stockpile before they spread the concrete out, and that can create an indent and the formwork, if you will, into the sand bed. Here's sand, and so they load the material, stockpile your materials. It comes up. Back then they weren't really using concrete pumps. I think they were using the buckets, big giant buckets. They dropped the material here. Maybe they spread it out a little bit, but nevertheless, it's way exceeding the formwork's ability to stay rigid, flat. And so some deflection takes place. They spread it out, and the deflection maybe calms a little bit, or maybe it does not. But we wouldn't know that unless we had the as-built and they did a profile of the ceiling, not the floor above, because they made that flat. The ceiling. Also, you could do the material calculations to see if they had excessive amount of wasted materials or excess materials they used, because the deck, when it was being poured, did some deflection, and it resulted in an extra 1 inch of concrete, 3/4 of an inch of concrete, etc. Oh, wait a minute. They do have the deck. They can actually take that profile and determine it with the materials they have at NIST. And determine it, well, is there a few areas in that deck that were deeper than the rest? And so this would tell you where they probably stockpile the materials, or you can even look at the ceiling if you take your time and look at it and see if you see some plywood indications on the underside there that would give indications to what I'm asking about. Plywood would be a tough one to triangulate to. So we have my major hint that I'm leaving in front of you again is this. So I want you to look at the critical shear area again. I want you to be at top view of this guy. Here's a column. This is the zone. Now you've seen in a couple of images where you see this stuck on a pedestal like this. I'll find it. I'll Google it in a second. The ramp up I showed you in the styrofoam video. The ramp up is here, meaning ramp up. A gradient of forces going up, but they're translated into the cantilever, as I call it, the area out here where the steel is rigid with relationship to where its connection is. Very rigid. Well, that's the same thing with here. And the deflection takes place in the deck. As it deflects, let's do the deflection, it stresses at the column head. It goes past beyond this critical shear zone, ignoring it, and goes right to the column head and just strips itself down to the ground. Oh, wait a minute. That's not true in this imagery I just showed below, because we see it standing propped up. Let me grab that image and we'll go an overlay of that and come back to this one. Okay, because we see it propped up here. So these forces that I show you in my styrofoam video, and I've shown you in drawings, that they're just not directly from there over to there and down. That there is a rigidity created around this critical shear zone in this imagery, in this image here, this zone, not all the time created this way. And when the deflection takes place, it shears itself at the location that it's rigid at. But the ramp up, I'm going to take some liberty here. I know it's kind of an angle, kind of weird. Maybe I can move it over a little bit. Let's see if I do that. Okay. I can do that. So let's use this column here. All right. And let's run a pad back in there. It's installed. Now there's your load. It deflects. Will the load be dead load, meaning just the weight of it, the asphalt, heavy equipment that came over there and broke some bond, some snowplow equipment drove on top of it that was too heavy for it, because you know that's what happens, and it created some bond break and gives you a little smiley face. It gives you sagging. Oh well, wait a minute, sagging doesn't go there. Oh, you guys visualize sagging from column to column. It's not true though. Sagging is between the most rigid point. It's a gradient. It steps up, and so let me do my gradient, if you will. And here's the column. So this becomes rigid, and it starts torquing, trying to pull down on it. This is where it's rigid like a wall in this case. It's trying to pull, separate from it. And sometimes the overloading is so great, the deflection is so beautiful that it can just create that styrofoam fracture fail I show you. But sometimes it's a slow, and placed on rebar, it's a slow fracture. It's a fracture with some steel across it that will look like, well, it looks like this. And we get the fracture thereupon here. Let me get you another image. So punching shear, if you will, here it is again. All right, there it is. There's a flat top. There's the wall, or the column. I'm sorry, the column system one. It would show that no deflection took place, so there was no degradation in here via deflection, and so this rebar in here is bonded well. It's set. It had initial set, locked it in, and we don't see it pulling through the column there. Let's go with to your left here. To your left, they have a diagram. I think I loaded it for that. I just moved over from the left to get to where I am. Okay, so here's sort of a diagram here, or a diagram. I mean, it's kind of blurry. I know, even with my vision, I see it's blurry. But there's that fracture, and there it is. So the deflection's here, but they have it here too. Just like it's just the capacity of it just can't do it. It's there. The deflective moment took place first to create this crack, to open it. I'm going to exaggerate. This is an opening end. A deflective moment took place. A deflective reaction is what we're looking at, and it can wrap around. It can show you part of. I'm trying to give it to you now so you can get it before I say it. So it can show itself like this, the deflective part, like that, right? And it can also present on the same column as flush or indented, if you will. So how do you get them both on the same column? You have to get your deflection first. I theorize deflection always comes first, and then the shearing action comes second. I've already shown you that one column is overloaded. So now you should have enough to run with it, pause the video and go. So that means that where you see this, a deflective moment was there, or created, and sheared off. I'm saying created because I left one little, I'm only waiting for one person to catch this. Only need one person to catch one, not defect. It's not a defect. One little clue that goes, but I want you to have the but thing, like a Columbo move. Okay, I got you. I learned it. Got it. I see it. Oh, it's so brilliant. But then I want you to also have the moment. But wait a minute. This doesn't explain X, this other thing. That I don't want to say it because I'll give away too much. But the hint is, look for what I just showed you. That's the hint. And then go, well, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. Why? And then if you're the first one there, I'll give you a quick comment and tell you simply, well, I'm kind of telling you now, just simple comment, relax. They're explained in the same way. It's explained in the same way. And then you should be able to tell me why you know what came first, that chicken or that egg, they're both the same, but one's a chicken and one's an egg. One had to come first. In reality, chicken and egg story is simple. I know you guys might ponder it, But that is the meaning of life right there, is that the egg cannot support itself. A egg can't hatch itself, live on its own, and make itself into a chicken. The chicken, therefore, must be present before the egg. So anyone asking what comes first, the chicken or the egg, clearly lacks logical thinking, but it's just a phrase I use. I do know which came first, the chicken or the egg. The chicken had to be there, must be here before the egg. All right, a baby cannot rear itself. All right, love you guys, and baby chickadee. Okay, so can't make itself and rear itself, make itself out of nowhere. So the sag is here. You see between here, your drapery, and there's our rigid. So this is our critical shear area. We can think of this as your critical shear zone here, the area continuously across. Could be a construction joint. I doubt it. I'll explain that in a future video if I deep dive into that, and I don't want to give it away yet on that question there. So it didn't run over to there, but it literally ran up to the zone. That's where it happens. I show you with the styrofoam. Hold on, I gotta do something else. So this is my styrofoam video for you lovely people, and this will show. Let me pause the volume. Construction site here, but set this up for you because I guess I can't pause the volume on the phony. So all right, lousy. Set up. Sorry. Oh, I'll scrub a bit, and what I'm saying, you'll see a ramp up. Let's get rid of this. Which has a downforce on the head. Side there. Let's pretend like this is the other side that you're. If we lose grip, I'm gonna. Let me see if I can fast forward. At that column area. You see the title of the records. How many probably had right there at the that down. So a ramp up would be here. So this is the wall system. And this is the rebar that sticks out top steel. It creates a cantilever effect, which gives us our critical shear zone further out of the wall than at the wall. It's actually extended out, evident as what you're looking at, evident as you look at this, how I show there's no steel in here tying it together, but you'll see how it deflects. The ramp up is like that, okay, like that. Let's go ahead and get to it. So now you see it's clamped down. All right. This secures it. This is equivalent to it's secured at the base here, where the wall comes up. It's anchored in the pad comes over, and the rebar that comes up from the wall is the anchorage for the pad. All right. So this securement, the clamps. I'm taking liberty using clamps, but this gets your end pad secured. I'm using styrofoam. It has a lot more deflection ability and compression ability, and also tension. Equal version of the reinforcement coming up and tying in this slab, locking it in place so as you load center, deflection still takes place. Can't, because there's material in the way that has to compress. When I say material in the way it has to compress, I mean, I'm referencing that it can't. I don't mean it. Let's let it play. And you see, as I load here, it creates a ramp. It extends. So in the foam is the error of the that extra compression around the base of it. Concrete's not going to do that. It's going to spall off once you start overloading it. It's going to start spalling. In this case, we're going to see my ramp from the wall surface. From the wall surface, if you will, I'm talking about. Great. So I'm talking about right about there is where I say from the wall surface, if you will. So here's our gradient, our step up. And when I deflect it, you'll see it to some degree. And at some point, it then starts flexing, but the foam starts compressing and starts to straighten out the foam a little bit before it finally fractures. That's what I'm talking about with that foam. It's not quite the same. It gives us an idea of the behavior, but it's not the same as concrete. Concrete would have spalled, etc. Like I said. Now let's finish this up. You will. This is the parking garage below. This is the pool deck. So it extends from the, or you can change it to the cars area, but I prefer not. Let's just keep it over the wall, south wall, without the parking garage. As you can see, as the deflection takes place, this is still pretty flat over here. Well, as deflection takes place, it's gonna, I'm showing that, you gotta come to the video, that it's pretty flat, meaning this part before it ramps. It's this foam, even though it doesn't have steel in it, has some rigidity. It extends out from even though it's foam from this surface here. Even the foam does with no steel. It still has a bit of a cantilever effect, especially because it's locked in place. The reactions. All right, I'm going to end this video, but I want you to think of that deflection. Yeah. I would now want you to find why you can see in that column this. Why do you see that? Well, the deflection is here. So, okay, I better do it. Hold on. Okay, so the deflection is, oops, moving this. Yeah, I guess I'm not moving it. So you're coming up, boom, doot, doot. The deflection is over here in this pad. Further out, put it out in the middle of the, sharing it from column to column. This is one of the most loaded columns as it triangulates with all the car loading to it, making the biggest critical area, tributary area, which intersects with it. Okay, this one here, this one here. With that said, so don't watch the rest of the video if you want to figure it out yourself. If you don't want the final kill, the final shot of this. So with that said, your deflection's over here. As that deflects, the rest of the loads are taken up by the other three sides of this column. The three sides of it. They result in pretty much a snap. A snap that comes to lines right about there before the rest of the deck. Now it's on an angle because it's sagging over to that one column over there by the planter box, because that sag there taking place back there also. Then just drapes everything down. Drapes. Remember, this is not for free. All this deck system is connected. Unlike ACI, I don't have a delusion. A delusion, not illusion. A delusion. I'm not delusional to think the deck is not connected when you connect it. It's connected all the way up to all construction joints, all connections. It is connected. It's connected to the building if you connect it to the building. So I'm not delusional like they are. This is not just a deck. This is a bridge. Cars drive on it. They park on it. It's a friggin' bridge. They should have 2-year inspections for bridges, just like they do in real life. Not this 40-year or 30 years. They're saying you can have a bridge, put a swimming pool connected to your bridge, put a building connected to your bridge, connected, not just touching, but connected, interlocked with your bridge, and say, no big deal. If your bridge falls down, your building will be okay, because ACI says you can attach a bridge, I'm using my own words, quote, bridge, to a fucking structure, and if the bridge falls down, the structure won't fall down for some reason. It's just fucking ridiculous. ACI needs to be hauled out, sued or something. You guys got millions of dollars from this lawsuit, all you people. You know, 100 million goes to whatever, to the lawyers. But between the rest of you, you can get together. You got $900 million. Now, you all not all of you are happy your loved one died. Maybe you still want your pound of flesh. You should go after ACI and make it so, or change something. Make a law change. You got enough money to lobby and buy now. Buy a law. They would say these things are bridges and they need to be inspected every 2 years. All right? You got enough money. But some of you frankly, are happy with the money now. Like, you know what? That's not my concern. I don't care. You know? And so, yeah, I'm attacking you for being a selfish prick. And that's male and female version of it. So, here we go. In family version, if you do it as a family decision. All right. So now I'm not really that soft, am I? I'm not. I need to get I need more sugar. I'm lacking sugar. I know. Sweetness. So this is your indicator. Your bottom steel right there, just bent over, and it just popped. It has some springiness to it, not much at all. But nevertheless, these are your indicators. They weren't twisted, rotated, or anything else. These cars are indicators of where they landed. It's as simple as what I just stated. All right, simple as what I just stated. The deflection's over here. That deflection, clearly, as we know from 3 weeks prior, is also indicated off the column. The deflection could have not been observed in the pool deck because of the structural slab being covered by this huge concrete base for the sand bed. And I'm sorry, so the base was not only just a base, but it was also a pitch for the drainage system, which I have a video coming out under Long, the engineer that put it on top of there. Why is he getting a free pass? I don't think the guy's dead, but why is that company getting free pass? They put all that weight on there, and now you can't inspect the lower deck. You can't inspect the lower deck, and well, you can inspect it to a degree looking at brakes underneath, but I'm just pissed. I'm going to end the video with that. You guys can, do with this you want. Thank you for this little mini master's class I'm offering to you at no charge, apparently. Take care. Bye.